Lovely starshine lights my way to bed. Magic rainbows glisten in my head. Just like a child I live in wonderland.
And welcome to Handmade by Ditsy Tulip. I'm Mel and thanks for stopping by my channel. If you've seen my recent plans video, you will have seen that one of the makes that was up next on my list was the Closet Case Patterns Jasika blazer, which is quite a complex make. So what I've decided to do is to keep a video diary of how I'm getting on at different stages of making this blazer. So this is not a sew along. I'm certainly not the best person to be teaching anybody on how to make this blazer because it's the first time that I've made it. But what I thought is it would be a good idea to do a sew along where I'll share any mistakes that I've made or any bits of the instructions that I found difficult or confusing, and I can elaborate on those as I go. I'm mainly doing this so I've got a video diary to refer back to when I make my second version of this blazer, but I thought it may be useful for other people to share my video diary as well. So if you are either making the blazer or plan to make the blazer at some point in the future, then you can refer to the bits that I found a little bit tricky or the mistakes that I made to hopefully help you to avoid making the same mistakes. So I've done the first part of the construction, which is on the front section. So I'm just going to share with you what I've done so far. The first thing I just wanted to point out, I was a bit confused with this pattern when I was cutting it out, because if you can see there's like a bit of a funny slit thing going on here, and I didn't know what that was for, but what I've discovered is when you've sewn the bust dart together, that then means that meets at the side seam, and all this slit simply is the slit for adding the pockets. So I thought I'd just share that in case you were scratching your head like I was when I was cutting this out. So here's one side constructed. So I've constructed the top dart there and the bust dart. So you can hopefully see now that meets at the side seam. And then you can see that slit there, that is simply for the pocket to be added at some point on the next steps, I would imagine. What I also did is transferred the pattern markings using tailor's tack, so I'll just come in and show you that. So hopefully you can see there, they are my tailor's tacks. And if you're not familiar with tailor's tacks, they're really simple. You just need a hand sewing needle. I've just got a double length of like thread that's doubled up, and you simply just pull the stitch through. So say for example, those ones I've just shown you there are these dots here. So you just pull the thread through on the relevant dot and then snip the thread. So there's no knots or anything like that, but it leaves the thread in. So that's where the circle is that is marked. Now I did fully interface the pattern pieces like the pattern instructs on this, and this lapel piece here is actually double interfaced, so there's a separate interfacing pattern piece, and I think that's quite important because you do need that extra stability there on the lapel. I'm still waiting for some canvas horsehair interlining to come. I can't find any so far in my local shop, so I'm still searching online because you need to insert a piece of that here. So I'm not really going to be able to go past this step on the front until I've been able to get my hands on some of the horsehair interfacing. Do let me know in the comments if you can think or if you know of any alternatives to that, because it seems that it's quite tricky to find here in the UK. But yeah, I've fully interfaced that, which gives it some nice stability. I'm a bit in two minds at the moment as to what I think about the linen. What I would say, not that there's anything wrong with the linen, but in relation to using linen for a blazer, what I'm just a little bit concerned about is whether you're going to see through on any areas. But it is going to be fully lined, so hopefully it will work out okay. What I would say is only make a linen blazer if you love the texture of linen and the fact that it gets creased and crinkled. Personally, I do. I really like linen for that fact that it gets crinkly. I think it gives it great character, but I know not everybody likes it, so only choose linen if you're happy with that. So the darts, they sew together really, really well. What you do on the bust dart is after you've stitched it, you slice it down the middle so that you can press it open, which is something that I've not done on a dart before, but that was really easy to do. And then the next step that I've done is the welt pocket, and this is an area where I've made a mistake, so I wanted to share that to remind myself for next time and to make sure that you don't make the same mistake. So the construction of the welt pocket went really well actually, and I've only ever done welt pockets once before on my deer and doe coat, and it's one of those processes where you've no idea if you're doing it right, but just follow the instructions because it does all come together in the end. I thought about stopping at some point and thinking, I'm sure I'm not doing this right, but I just went with it and I was doing it right. What I would perhaps suggest, if you've not done welt pockets before, is to just practice them on scraps of fabric rather than doing them for the first time on your blazer where it may go wrong. But now in relation to the mistake that I made, so I'm sure you can probably see this welt pocket has got a bit of a wobble going on, and that's because I forgot to interface this pattern piece. Perhaps one of the most important pattern pieces that you need to interface the pocket, and I forgot to do it. I did check that it wasn't a mistake on the pattern and that it was my mistake, and it is my mistake. It does clearly say on the pattern piece here to cut one out in the fabric and one out in interfacing, but I've missed that and forgot to interface that pattern piece. So I think what I'm actually going to have to do on this is stitch it closed with a blind stitch, because that will bug me, the fact that the pocket's wobbly, and I don't functionally use a breast pocket, so I think what I will do is just put a few blind stitches in that to stitch it closed. So it's a shame, but then it's all about learning, isn't it, doing something like this, and I will make sure that I do interface the welt pocket pieces for the pockets that come down here, because I will use those pockets. So that's it, that's all I wanted to share so far. I will keep you updated with the next steps of the construction. I've no idea what's coming next, because I'm the kind of person that just does each step as it comes, rather than the kind of person that reads through all the instructions before I start. Of course, there's pros and cons to both ways, but that's just what works best for me. So I will see you soon in another video diary. So have a wonderful week, and I'll chat to you soon. Bye.
To you, love has changed my former point of view. Just like a butterfly,